My question, as a local practitioner, I'm with the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, the Chief Transformation Officer. I would ask of our Secretary your advice or your recommendation as we seek to connect the policy to the grassroots. We are clear of the what that has to happen, but as we've stated, Mona, you've stated eloquently that it's the how that happens within your local context. As we juggle the balls of negotiating in the midst of trying to work collaboratively with Race to the Top, yet facing yearly deficits because of the funding crisis in our state, also facing the governor-elect threatening our Race to the Top funds, what is your advice as former local level superintendents for those of us that stand courageous? Janice, we work with you with Harvard Excel, Michael, Council of Great City Schools. What do I take back to my cabinet as we continue to juggle these balls, yet stand courageous to reform our urban system?
Who'd like to start on that one?
Not an easy question to answer. It's a great question. My only advice is there's a lot that you said there that you can't quite control. And what I always try and do is focus on what I can control. And so all the drama, all the noise, you can spend all your time thinking about that and have zero impact. So I try and let that be water off a duck's back. Let all that go. Focus on what you can control, which is engaging with your community, informing parents, challenging the parents to challenge you, and making the right moves, school by school, neighborhood by neighborhood, to give every single child a chance to get a great education. And you know at the local level how far you have to go and how far, frankly, every urban school district in the country still has to go before we get there. And so as much as you can, minimize the drama, keep your team focused, do the hard work, and know we'll do everything we can to support you in that courageous work.
I actually discussed this at the last time that Secretary and I were together and brought up the issue of capacity for intervention, and with that being your role, it is something that we as a country definitely need to be working together to make sure that we are identifying very clearly what it takes to turn schools around, collecting that information, sharing that information, and supporting one another and making it happen successfully, because it is very difficult work. And everybody I think in the country knows about or has heard about Central Falls High School, which is the school in Rhode Island, and it's one of our lowest achieving schools that we identified last year. Went to turnaround model, went back to the transformation model. So the teachers who were terminated last year, and in order to implement the other model, were actually brought back, and they're all there, and the superintendent of that district, Dr. Gallo, is implementing transformation, and they're really, really struggling. Randy and I were talking about it before the panel started. It's not going very well right now. We're all focused on it. We're going to keep supporting them. We know ultimately that we're completely dedicated to making sure that those students get the quality of education they deserve. So it's not that I don't have confidence that we're going to get there, but we're struggling with having the ability to make that transformation at that school-based level.
Rose Else-Mitchell from Scholastic Corporation. This is really a question for Mona, but I'm sure the Secretary may have thoughts on it as well. As you mentioned, the importance of technological innovation. I wondered, in the journeys that the districts and school systems have taken across such different economic conditions, what role, if any, technology has been seen as a factor to play in their success as they move along those phases. So often it's seen can be seen as a magic bullet, and we all know that it's as difficult an innovation to implement as any of the people-focused changes that have been talked about today.
In terms of the role of technology, it played a role in some systems from a back office perspective, so in terms of data management, monitoring, et cetera. In very few, if any, of the systems did we see it play a prominent role in the actual classroom instruction. Now, all of that being said, our sample starts from 1985 onwards, and obviously technology has moved quite a bit since then. So it did not play a major, front-facing role in the systems we saw, but nor was the technology, I think, ready of age from those periods as well. And as we talk to system leaders, I think there's a lot of optimism and desire to experiment, particularly in the great to excellent. There's a lot of desire to experiment, but no one has quite hit on the formula yet of what can you do with it.